What a year for the Jacksonville Jags. They come into the playoffs 9-8 straight up, 8-1 against the spread. Jacksonville is plus 4,600 to win the Super Bowl. That is the 11th best price to win. As you can see, they are right above the Giants, Dolphins, and Seahawks, who are the three longest shots to win it all. Now, Jacksonville comes into this year off of an incredible turnaround. They were 3-14 last year. This year, they have a winning record. They become just the fifth team since 1970 to go from having the worst record in the league to winning the division the next year. They were 3-7 earlier this year, and the Titans were 7-3. They ended up ending their season on a 5-game winning streak. They forced 11 turnovers during that win streak, and 2 of them were game-winning scores. From week 16 back in 2019, there was a stretch of 43 games when Jacksonville won 7. They won 7 out of 43 games. They were 7-36. Since then, they're 7-2. They've won 7 out of their next 9. So it shows you what coaching can do, right? This team has some good wins this year. They beat the Chargers early in the year. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Titans twice. They did have some bad losses. They lost to the Texans. They lost to the Broncos. They got crushed by the Colts. They got crushed by the Lions. They lost to the Colts. So we're not talking about fantastic losses. I mean, they lost to some playoff teams like the Eagles, Giants, and Chiefs also. Where they've improved has been Trevor Lawrence. He's been playing very, very well. And he was not playing well early in this year and last year. But since November, he is second in completion percentage since November started, over 69%. He's third in passer rating. He's 8th in total QBR. He has 15 touchdown passes and just 2 interceptions in his last 9 games. This is their first playoff appearance since 2017. Mentioned they crushed the Chargers earlier this year. It's not one that I'm going to take a whole lot out of because the Chargers were really banged up in that game. Now, recently, Jacksonville has also played a pretty soft schedule of opponents. These are some of the quarterbacks they've recently played: Zach Wilson, Chris Streveler, Davis Mills, Jeff Driscoll, and Joshua Dobbs. One of their best pass rushers has a torn right Achilles, so he's going to be out. We keep hearing that this defense is really, really good. They have some playmakers. They're not fantastic on the down-to-down. Now, their defense entered Week 18 ranked 29th in defensive DVOA for the pass. They're 29th against slot targets, allowing 0.42 EPA per pass attempt. St. Brown and Lamb crush them in the slot, and Keenan Allen runs a lot of those same routes. He could be in line for a big game when they play the Chargers. In slot receptions per game, in yards per target, and in touchdowns surrendered in the slot, they're bottom third in the league in all of those. They've allowed the most receptions and yards to running backs in the passing game. And their defense is bad against play-action passes. First 3 quarters on early downs, they're 26th in EPA against play-action passes. That game last week, they got down 10-0, and they didn't have the lead in the game until 2 minutes and 51 seconds left because of a fluky touched defensive score. The offensive line did perform well. They allowed just 8 pressures across 33 pass blocking snaps, but they weren't able to run the ball well at all. Just 1.9 yards per carry, just 17 yards for Etienne, and only 22 yards combined between the 2 running backs on 10 carries. They got to be able to run the ball against the Chargers, who are not good defending the run. Now, it's not as if Jacksonville was all that impressive last week in that game. In the second half, they only scored 2 field goals on offense. They only ran 15 plays on their final 4 drives before the kneel down. It was defense and special teams. They averaged 31 yards on 4 kick returns, including a 50-yard kick return, and a fourth quarter punt was returned 22 yards to help flip the field position. Their punter averaged 51 yards per kick. All 4 of his punts went inside the 23. All 4 of his punts were inside the 20, and 3 of them went inside the 10. The defense only allowed 116 total yards and 3 points in the second half. Etienne matches up very well Before facing the Titans last week, he had averaged 19.4 touches and 126.3 total yards over his prior 3 games. He's 16th in weighted opportunities, 3rd in red zone touches, 14th in yards created per touch, and 4th in breakaway runs. Since week 14, the Chargers ranked 21st in rushing yards per game, 26th in rushing success rate, and 29th in EPA per rush. Could be a cold game. Weather maybe into the 30s for Jacksonville. That's cold. I know, I'm a California guy. Jacksonville 8th in offensive EPA per play, 12th in defensive EPA per play allowed, 16th in Pro Football Focus power rankings, but they did have one of the easiest schedules in the league. They were 30th in strength of schedule. They faced the 32nd toughest schedule of offenses. That's why their defense looks pretty good. They were set up very well. Overall, this team ranks number 13 in DVOA, number 9 offensive DVOA, number 26 defensive DVOA, number 11 special teams DVOA. But last week, the Titans, with Dobbs, only punted 1 time in the first 3 quarters. Their defense is not very good against short passing or against long passing. Against passes thrown less than 7 air yards, they're 29th in success rate and 24th in EPA per pass defending them. That's what the Chargers do. They just dink and dunk all up and down the field. Short stuff to Eckler, short stuff to Allen. And the Jags are only the 30th best tackling team out of 32. Their starting tackle, Cam Robinson, is out. But for the Chargers, if they continue to blitz, it may work into the favor of Jacksonville because Trevor Lawrence is top 5 in success rate against the blitz this year. Jacksonville, an incredible turnaround this season. Just making it to the playoffs is phenomenal for them. And they've set themselves up to be the favorite in this division now moving forward. Not sure how far they get this year, but with a rookie quarterback, with second-year quarterback like Lawrence, someone who, as a rookie, he struggled, but this year he's taken the leap forward. If he can continue to progress and take other steps forward, there may be a ceiling in the playoffs that we don't even realize for him. He may be the type of quarterback who can put you on his back and lead you. Lawrence and the Jags plus 4,600